My friends and fellow parents, what I am about to tell you is from my 56 years of being a parent. Believe me or not, but your children will hate you if you make these mistakes, and I'm certain. Don't go anywhere.
Some parents don't crush dreams with a fist. They crush them with a sigh, a raised eyebrow, a shake of the head. And the child feels every single one. You know exactly what it sounds like. You've heard it. Maybe you've said it. That's not a real career. Do you know how many people fail at that? You need something stable. Something realistic. Art doesn't pay bills. I'm not wasting my money on that degree. You're not talented enough for that. I'm just being honest with you. And then the one that ties it all together, the one that makes it impossible for the child to even argue back. I'm only telling you this because I love you. Every single one of those sentences is a parent standing between their child and the thing that makes them feel alive, and calling it love. Every single one. That child walked up to you with fire in their chest, with something they believed in, something they could see for themselves, and you poured water on it. And you told yourself you were being a good parent. So why do parents do this? Straight answer, 2 reasons. The first is fear. Your own fear. You're not protecting your child from failure, you're projecting your own financial anxiety, your own regrets, your own limitations onto them. You couldn't take risks when you were young, so you can't stomach watching your child take them either. You're not guiding them. You're caging them inside your own experience and calling it wisdom. The second reason is control. You have a blueprint. You decided years ago what your child's life is supposed to look like. Doctor. Lawyer. Engineer. Accountant. And anything outside that blueprint doesn't feel like a different path to you, it feels like disobedience. It feels like disrespect. Because it was never really about what's best for them. It was about what makes you comfortable. And let's name the cultural layer here because it needs to be said. In many families, many cultures, a child's career isn't about the child at all. It's about the parent's reputation. My son is a doctor. That's the goal. Not my son is happy. Not my daughter wakes up every morning excited about her life. No. My child has a title I can brag about at dinner. That's what this is really about for some of you. And your child knows it. They've always known it. Now let me tell you what this actually does to that child. First, they learn that their passion is stupid. That their instincts can't be trusted. That the thing that lights them up inside is foolish and embarrassing. You taught them that. With your words. With your reactions. With your honesty. Some of them abandon the dream entirely. They fold. They follow your plan. And they spend the next 20, 30, 40 years sitting in a career they never wanted, living a life that feels borrowed, wondering what if. And every single day they live inside that what if, they resent you. Quietly. Deeply. Permanently. Others pursue the dream anyway. But they carry guilt the entire time. Shame. Because the one person on this earth who was supposed to believe in them first, chose doubt instead. They succeed with a weight on their back that you put there. And some of them make it. They succeed despite you. And that's when the relationship truly breaks. Because now the child looks back and realizes, you were wrong. You didn't believe in me and you were wrong. And you never once admitted it. You never once said, I'm sorry, I should have supported you. You just watched them win and either took credit or stayed silent. And that silence told them everything. But the worst outcome, the one that should keep you up at night, is the child who gives up completely. Follows your safe plan. Gets the stable job. Builds the life you designed. And hates every single day of it. They wake up empty. They go through the motions. They look successful on the outside. But inside they are living someone else's life, your life, the one you chose for them. And they know exactly who to blame. They won't always say it out loud. But they carry it. And it poisons every interaction they have with you. Every phone call. Every visit. Every holiday. There's a quiet resentment underneath all of it, and it never goes away. Your child came to you with a spark in their eyes. They were telling you who they wanted to become. They were handing you the most vulnerable part of themselves, their hope. And you looked at that spark and you blew it out. You didn't protect them. You silenced them. And they will remember that for the rest of their life. Not the birthday parties. Not the gifts. Not the roof over their head. They will remember the day they told you their dream, and you made them feel stupid for having one. If your parents killed a dream of yours, drop it in the comments right now. I want to know what you would have been. And if you're watching this and it's already hitting close to home, subscribe, because the next two things go even deeper than this. Now the second one is different. This one isn't about what you said. It's about what you refuse to let them do. And it's the reason so many children leave home and never, ever, look back. The second thing, taking your child's freedom. And before anyone twists this, no, I'm not talking about letting a 5-year-old run wild in the streets. I'm not talking about removing boundaries or structure. I'm talking about parents who control every single dimension of their child's life, and refuse to loosen the grip even as that child grows. Even as they become a teenager. Even as they become an adult. The grip stays the same. The control stays the same. Nothing changes except the child's age, and their growing desperation to breathe. There's a difference between parenting and imprisonment. Some parents don't know where that line is. And some parents know exactly where it is, they just don't care. Let me show you what this looks like. Because it's not always obvious from the outside. It's choosing their friends for them. Deciding who's acceptable and who isn't, not based on character, not based on behavior, based on whether the parent approves. And if they don't approve, that friend is gone. Cut off. The child isn't allowed to learn who to trust and who not to trust. The parent makes every social decision for them. So the child grows up not knowing how to form relationships on their own, because they were never allowed to. It's monitoring every single move. Going through their phone. Reading their private messages. Tracking their location, not when they're 12, not when there's genuine danger, but when they're 17, 18, 22. Still tracked. Still watched. Still treated like a flight risk instead of a human being. It's making every decision for them. What to wear. What to study. Who to date. Where to go. When to come home. What to eat. How to speak. How to sit. The child doesn't have preferences, they have instructions. They don't have a personality, they have a script their parent wrote for them. It's punishing independence. Every single time the child tries to think for themselves, act for themselves, make a choice that is theirs, it's met with anger. Or guilt. Or the silent treatment. Or the withdrawal of love. The parent doesn't say, "I disagree." They say, "After everything I do for you, this is how you repay me?" They make independence feel like betrayal. They make growing up feel like a crime. And then there's the classic line, the one so many of you heard growing up, "As long as you live under MY roof, you live by MY rules." And on the surface, that sounds reasonable. But in these homes, the rules aren't about respect or safety. The rules are total dominance over another human being. The rules are you don't get to be a person here. You get to be obedient. That's your only option. And let me name the invisible version of this. Because not every controlling parent yells. Not everyone threatens. Some of them control through silence. Through emotional withdrawal. Through guilt so subtle you can barely name it but you feel it in your bones. It sounds like this: the child says, "I want to go out with my friends tonight." And the parent says, "Fine. Go." But the way they say it, the tone, the posture, the sigh, the look, tells the child if you walk out that door, you are abandoning me. The child hasn't done anything wrong. They just wanted to be a teenager. And now they feel like a traitor for wanting a life outside their parents' control. So they stay. Not because they want to. Because leaving felt like cruelty. And the parent never had to raise their voice. They controlled with silence, and it worked. So why? Why do parents do this? 2 reasons. Same as before, straight answer. The first is fear disguised as love. The world is dangerous. They know that. They've seen terrible things happen to other people's children. They've read the stories. They've watched the news. And they believe, genuinely believe, that the tighter they hold on, the safer their child will be. That if they control every variable, nothing bad can happen. And I understand that fear. Every parent feels it. But here's what they don't understand: safety without freedom is a cage. You can build the safest, most secure, most protected environment in the world, but if your child can't breathe inside it, you haven't kept them safe. You've trapped them. And trapped people don't feel grateful. They feel desperate. The second reason is power. And this one is harder to admit. Some parents simply cannot handle the idea of their child having autonomy. Their child's obedience is how they feel in control, not just of the child's life, but of their own. When the child listens, when the child complies, when the child falls in line, the parent feels stable. Feels respected. Feels powerful. And when the child pushes back, even gently, even reasonably, the parent feels threatened. Not because the child is doing something wrong, but because the child is becoming a person. And to this parent, that's the problem. The child was never a person to them. They were a possession. Something to be managed. Something to be owned. Let me say this as clearly as I can. Protecting your child means preparing them for the world. Controlling your child means hiding the world from them and calling it love. Those are not the same thing. And your child knows the difference, even if you don't. Now let me tell you what this does to that child. Because the damage is structural. It's not a wound you can see. It's a wiring problem. You rewired who they are. First, they never developed decision-making skills. How could they? They were never allowed to decide anything. Not what to wear. Not who to befriend. Not what to study. Not where to go. Every choice was made for them. So when they finally enter the real world, and they're paralyzed. They don't know how to choose because choosing was never an option. They don't trust their own judgment because their judgment was never respected. You didn't raise a confident adult. You raised a dependent one. And then you wonder why they can't stand on their own 2 feet, when you never once let them try. Some of them go the other direction. They don't freeze, they explode. The moment they taste freedom, they swing to the extreme. They do everything they were never allowed to do, all at once, with no filter, no moderation, no internal compass. Because you never taught them balance. You taught them suppression. And suppression doesn't create discipline. It creates a pressure cooker. And pressure cookers eventually blow. They associate love with control. This is the one that follows them into every relationship they ever have. They grow up believing that if someone loves you, they monitor you. They restrict you. They decide things for you. So they enter romantic relationships where they're either being controlled, and they accept it because it feels familiar, or they become the one controlling, because it's the only model of love they were ever shown. You didn't just damage your relationship with them. You damaged every relationship they'll ever have. They become liars. And this one is going to sting, because the same parent who controlled everything is usually the same parent who says, "I just want my child to be honest with me." But you made honesty impossible. Every time they told the truth, it led to more restrictions. Every time they were transparent, it was used against them. You want to go to that party? Absolutely not. You're talking to who? Give me your phone. Honesty wasn't safe in your house. Truth was a liability. So they learned to hide. To perform. To tell you what you wanted to hear and do what they actually wanted behind your back. They didn't become liars because they're bad people. They became liars because you made truth dangerous. And here's the deepest cut. The one that ends the relationship for good. They stop seeing you as a parent and start seeing you as a warden. Your home stops feeling like a home and starts feeling like a facility. And the day they are old enough to leave, they do. Without hesitation. Without looking back. Because they're not leaving home. They're leaving a sentence. And they don't come back. Not because they don't love you. But because being near you feels like suffocation. And they spent their entire childhood suffocating. They're done. You were so afraid of losing them to the world that you lost them yourself. You held on so tight that letting go wasn't a choice for them, it was an escape. And when your child has to escape from you, they don't call that leaving home. They call that survival. If this is hitting home for you right now, whether you live this as a child or you're realizing you might be doing this as a parent, I need you to hear me. This channel exists for conversations exactly like this. If you want more, subscribe right now. And tell me in the comments, what was the one rule in your house growing up that had nothing to do with protection and everything to do with control? I want to hear it. Now the third one. This is the one I told you about at the beginning of this video. And I need you to really hear this one. Because this one doesn't just make your child hate you. This one makes them question whether you ever loved them at all. The third thing. And this is the one I told you about at the very beginning of this video. This is the one I needed you to stay for. Because this one doesn't just make your child hate you. This one makes them question, genuinely question, whether you ever loved them at all. Loving outsiders more than your own children. And when I say outsiders, I mean anyone. Extended family. Friends. Coworkers. New partners. Stepchildren. The public. Strangers. Anyone who is not your child, receiving more of your loyalty, more of your warmth, more of your defense, more of your energy, more of your money, more of your attention, than the child you brought into this world. Nothing, and I mean nothing, destroys a child faster than watching their parent pour love into everyone else while they stand right there. Empty-handed. Watching. Waiting. Hoping that maybe today it's their turn. And it never is. Let me show you exactly what this looks like. Because some of you are doing this right now and you don't even see it. It's the parent who brings a new partner into the home, and overnight, the child becomes secondary. Everything shifts. The partner's feelings come first. The partner's comfort comes first. The partner's children who are strangers to your child, suddenly come first. And your own child, the one who was there before any of this, is told to adjust. To be nice. To stop being difficult. To give it time. Meanwhile, they're standing in their own home watching someone who just arrived receive the love they have been begging for their entire life. And you expect them to be okay with that. You expect them to smile about it. They won't. And they shouldn't. It's the parent who is warm, generous, and charming to everyone outside the house, but cold, impatient, and dismissive behind closed doors. At work, you're wonderful. With your friends, you're the life of the room. At family gatherings, everyone says your kids are so lucky to have you. But your child is sitting right there knowing the truth. That the version of you the world sees is a performance. That the real you, the one who comes home, is short-tempered, distant, irritable, and unavailable. The world gets your best. Your child gets your leftovers. And they know it. They've always known it. It's the parent who takes the side of an outsider over their own child. A relative criticizes your child, you agree with the relative. A teacher embarrasses your child, you side with the teacher. A neighbor complains about your child, you apologize to the neighbor and punish the child. Publicly. In front of everyone. Your child gets sacrificed to keep the peace. Your child gets humiliated so you can maintain a relationship with someone who isn't even yours. And in that moment, your child learns a lesson they will never unlearn. I am the person my parent is willing to throw away. It's the parent who spends money freely on everyone else. Gifts for friends. dinners for coworkers, trips with the new partner. Generosity flowing in every direction, except inward. But when your child needs something, shoes, school supplies, something that matters to them, suddenly we can't afford that. Suddenly money doesn't grow on trees. Your child isn't stupid. They see where the money goes. They see who gets it. And they see that they're not on that list. It's the parent who praises other people's children in front of their own. Why can't you be more like so-and-so's daughter? Did you see how well-behaved that child was? I wish you were more like him. You are telling your child, to their face, that someone else's child is the one you actually want. And you think that motivates them. It doesn't. It guts them. It tells them that they are not enough for the one person who is supposed to love them unconditionally. Now let me tell you why this one cuts deeper than the other two. Deeper than killing their dreams. Deeper than taking their freedom. This one reaches a place the others can't touch. A child's first understanding of love doesn't come from a dictionary. It doesn't come from a movie. It comes from their parent. It's not a concept to them, it's a feeling. And that feeling is either I am chosen or I am not. There is no middle ground. A child either feels like they are the most important person in their parent's world, or they feel like they're in the way. And when a child watches their parent choose others, consistently, openly, unapologetically, the child doesn't think my parent is flawed. They don't think my parent is going through something. No. The child thinks I'm not lovable. Because the logic is simple and devastating: if the person who is supposed to love me the most doesn't, then something must be wrong with me. Not with them. With me. And that belief, that core, foundational belief, becomes their operating system. It follows them everywhere. Into friendships where they overgive and overperform just to earn love that should be free. Into romantic relationships where they accept crumbs, scraps of affection, bare minimum effort, because crumbs are normal to them. Crumbs are what love looked like in their house. Into their own parenting, where they either overcompensate obsessively, terrified of repeating the cycle, or they repeat it exactly, because it's the only blueprint they have. And there's one sentence that every single child of this kind of parent has thought at some point. Maybe they never said it out loud. Maybe they'll never say it. But they've thought it. And it's this: you had love to give. You just didn't give it to me. Let that sit. Now let me tell you what happens when this child grows up. Because they do grow up. And when they do, something shifts. They stop competing for your love. Not because they don't want it anymore. They want it desperately. They've always wanted it. They stop because they're exhausted. They are tired of performing for something that never comes. Tired of trying to be enough for someone who keeps choosing everyone else. So they pull back. Slowly. Quietly. Holidays become optional. Phone calls become shorter. Visits become rare. They start building a life that doesn't include you, not out of revenge, out of self-preservation. And here's the part that should get every parent listening to this. The child pulls away, and the parent barely notices. Because the parent is still pouring into everyone else. Still giving energy to friends, to partners, to extended family, to strangers. And the child watches this from a distance, and the distance no longer feels like a loss. It feels like confirmation. You don't even notice I'm gone. Just like I always knew. I never mattered. Some of these children eventually cut ties completely. Fully. No calls. No visits. No holidays. Done. And the parent tells everyone who will listen, I don't know what happened. I don't understand. I don't know why my child won't talk to me. I gave them everything. But the child knows exactly why. They've always known why. They knew why when they were 7 years old watching you light up for someone else. They knew why when they were 15 and stopped asking you for anything because the answer was always no, unless someone else was asking. They knew why. Every single time. They just stopped expecting you to see it. Your child didn't need you to be perfect. They didn't need you to have all the money in the world. They didn't need you to never make mistakes. They needed you to choose them. In a room full of people, they needed to know, to feel in their bones, that they were the one you'd fight for, provide for, show up for, defend, prioritize, choose. And you chose everyone else. Every time. That's not something a child forgets. That's not a phase they grow out of. That is something they build an entire life around, a life designed to never feel that kind of rejection again. And most of the time, that life doesn't include you. If you've made it this far in this video, I already know this is hitting you somewhere real. Subscribe to this channel right now because we don't do surface level here. We go where it matters. And tell me in the comments, did your parent love outsiders more than you? And how did it shape who you are today? I want to hear your story.